Ladies and gentlemen, everything in life is temporary, and when we truly understand this truth, the way we see our challenges, our successes, and even our daily struggles begins to transform. Too often, we hold on to pain as though it will last forever, and we cling to joy as if it will never fade. But life is constantly in motion, shifting and changing like the seasons. Nothing, whether good or bad, remains the same forever. When we realize this, we stop stressing over what is beyond our control, and we begin to embrace life with more patience, gratitude, and resilience. Think about the last time you faced a hardship so overwhelming that you thought you would never get through it. Perhaps it was a heartbreak, a failure, or a season of loss. In those moments, the weight felt unbearable. But if you look back now, you will see that you made it through. What once seemed endless eventually passed, and the pain that once felt permanent became a distant memory or a valuable lesson. This is the power of time. It heals, it changes, it moves us forward, whether we realize it or not. Pain may visit us, but it never stays forever. In the same way, joy and comfort are also temporary. This is not meant to discourage us, but to remind us never to take good moments for granted. When life gives us moments of peace, love or happiness, we should embrace them fully, knowing they are precious gifts that may not always be there. Too often, we rush through the happy times, distracted by worry or future plans, without realizing that these moments are fleeting treasures. By remembering that good times are temporary too, we develop gratitude. Gratitude allows us to savor life deeply and live in the present without being consumed by fear of what might come next. The temporariness of life also teaches us the futility of stress. Stress magnifies our problems, making them appear larger than they truly are. When a storm comes, we often panic as if it will never leave, forgetting that storms are always temporary. Every dark cloud eventually makes way for sunshine. Every winter is followed by spring. Every night, no matter how long, is followed by a sunrise. When we remind ourselves that no challenge lasts forever, we stop letting stress control us, and we start developing patience and hope. This perspective gives us the strength to endure difficulties with grace, because we know they are not permanent. Understanding that everything is temporary also empowers us to let go. We often carry grudges, bitterness, or regrets far longer than necessary, forgetting that the past cannot be changed. Just as joy fades and pain heals, so should our attachment to negative experiences. Life is too short to hold on to things that weigh us down. When we accept that nothing is permanent, we find the courage to release what no longer serves us and make space for new beginnings. Finally, the awareness of life's temporary nature reminds us to focus on building what lasts within us. Circumstances change, but qualities such as resilience, kindness, courage, and character remain. These are not temporary gifts. They are strengths we carry through every season. While we cannot control the rise and fall of situations, we can control how we respond. By developing inner strength, we ensure that no matter how temporary the storm, we emerge stronger and more grounded. So everything in life is temporary, both the highs and the lows. This truth may feel unsettling at first, but in reality, it is liberating. It reminds us not to get too attached to what will fade and not to lose hope when things fall apart. It pushes us to appreciate the present, endure the trials, and live fully, knowing that nothing lasts forever and that every season, whether joyful or painful, is only a chapter, not the entire story. Storms always pass, no matter how dark, heavy, or endless they may seem in the moment. Life often feels like a series of storms, periods of difficulty, loss, uncertainty, or pain that seem to shake us to our very core. When we are in the middle of one, it feels as though it will never end, as though the darkness has swallowed up the light for good. Yet history, both personal and universal, shows us one undeniable truth: these storms are never permanent. They come with thunder and lightning, but eventually the skies clear, the sun returns, and we find ourselves standing stronger than before. When challenges strike, our first instinct is often fear. We worry, we panic, and we let our minds create stories of doom and despair. This is because storms trick us into believing they are endless. But think about the last storm you went through in life. At some point, you thought it would break you, yet here you are today. You survived, you endured, and the storm passed. The scars you may carry from that time are not signs of weakness, but of survival. Proof that you made it through something that once felt impossible. Every storm you have faced so far has passed, and so will the one you are in now. It is important to understand that storms have a purpose. They may shake us, but they also shape us. A storm forces us to pause, to reflect, and often to grow in ways we would not have if life had been smooth and calm. The strongest trees are not those that have been sheltered from storms, but those that have endured the winds, rains, and tempests over time. Likewise, your character, resilience, and inner strength are developed not in moments of ease, but in moments when you face the storm head on and trust that it will eventually end. Sometimes, storms strip away what we thought we needed. They may remove certain people from our lives, push us out of comfort zones, or end chapters we were too afraid to close ourselves. Though it hurts at the time, later we often realize that those endings were necessary for new beginnings. The storm was not a punishment. It was a path to something greater. Just as rain nourishes the earth, the storms in our lives nourish our growth, even when we do not see it immediately. To endure storms, we must cultivate patience and faith. Patience reminds us not to lose heart when the rain keeps falling, and faith whispers that the sun will rise again. When we panic, we give the storm more power than it deserves. But when we hold on, breathe, and trust the process, we ride out the storm with dignity. Remember, even the longest night eventually ends in dawn, and even the fiercest storm eventually gives way to calm skies. Another truth about storms is that they reveal what truly matters. When life is shaken, we often realize how little value lies in the temporary things we cling to. Money, pride, or material possessions. Storms teach us to focus on love, relationships, kindness, and inner peace. The things that remain even after the rain has gone. They purify our priorities and bring clarity to what is truly important in our lives. So, storms always pass, and knowing this gives us the courage to keep going. The current struggle you face is not your final destination. It is a season, not a sentence. The pain may be real, but it is temporary. The difficulty may be heavy, but it is not forever. No matter how strong the winds blow or how fierce the rain falls, you can stand firm in the truth that the skies will clear, light will return, and you will emerge stronger, wiser, and more resilient than ever before. Stress magnifies problems, making them appear larger, heavier, and more impossible than they truly are. When difficulties come into our lives, they are already challenging, but when stress enters the equation, those challenges seem overwhelming. Stress acts like a magnifying glass held over our worries, exaggerating every detail until it consumes our thoughts and emotions. What could have been handled with calmness and clarity becomes a mountain that feels impossible to climb. The problem itself might be small or temporary, but stress convinces us that it is permanent and catastrophic. When we are stressed, our minds lose perspective. Instead of seeing the full picture, we zoom in on the negative parts until they occupy all our attention. A single mistake at work can feel like the end of a career. A small disagreement in a relationship can feel like a complete breakdown. And a temporary setback can feel like lifelong failure. Stress blinds us to the solutions and lessons hidden within problems, leaving us trapped in a cycle of fear and overthinking. This distortion is dangerous because it doesn't just make the problem feel worse. It makes us believe that we are less capable of solving it. The body also responds to stress in ways that intensify our struggles. Stress increases anxiety, tightens our muscles, and creates fatigue, which makes it even harder to face challenges with strength. Instead of calmly working through the situation, we become restless, irritable, and emotionally drained. In this way, stress does not just magnify the problem in our mind, it physically weakens us, reducing our ability to cope. A tired mind and body will always see problems as bigger than they are. This is why two people can face the same challenge. But the one who is calm finds solutions, while the one who is stressed feels crushed under the weight of it. Stress also magnifies problems by pushing us toward irrational decisions. When we panic, we often rush into choices without thinking them through. We might quit too soon, say things we regret, or avoid the situation altogether. These reactions do not solve the problem, they multiply it. For example, being stressed about money may lead someone to make quick, risky decisions that worsen their finances. Being stressed about a relationship issue may cause someone to react in anger and damage the bond further. In this way, stress not only magnifies the original problem, but also creates new ones. The truth is, the majority of the problems we face are not as big as they seem under the influence of stress. When we take a step back, breathe, and allow ourselves to calm down, the problem often looks smaller and more manageable. Perspective changes everything. What once felt like a disaster can be seen as a challenge, and what once felt like an ending can be recognized as a new beginning. Stress robs us of that perspective, but calmness restores it. To reduce the power of stress, we must train ourselves to pause before reacting. When the mind is calm, it sees solutions. When the heart is steady, it finds strength. Stress exaggerates everything, but patience and clarity shrink problems back to their actual size. By refusing to let stress take control, we remind ourselves that problems are a part of life, but they are never as big as stress makes them appear. So, stress magnifies problems, but we always have a choice. We can allow it to control us and turn small struggles into unbearable burdens, or we can control our response and face challenges with clarity and strength. The problem may not disappear immediately, but without the weight of stress, it becomes far easier to carry and far less frightening than our mind once made it seem. Gratitude and patience are essential because together they shape the way we experience life and respond to its ever-changing seasons. Gratitude teaches us to value what we have in the present, while patience helps us endure what we do not yet have or what we cannot control. Life is a mixture of joys and struggles, and without gratitude, we miss out on the beauty of our blessings. And without patience, we lose hope during our trials. These two qualities act like anchors, keeping us grounded when life is good, so we don't take it for granted, and steadying us when life is hard so we don't give up too soon. Gratitude is not just about saying thank you. It is about shifting the focus from what is missing to what is present. Too often, people live in constant dissatisfaction, believing happiness will only come when they achieve more, earn more, or become more. But this mindset blinds them to the treasures already in their hands. A grateful heart sees the value in ordinary moments. The smile of a loved one, the comfort of a home, the opportunity to try again after a failure. When we practice gratitude daily, we realize that life has already given us so much, and this realization creates joy independent of circumstances. Problems may still exist, but gratitude softens their impact by reminding us of the good that coexists with the bad. Patience, on the other hand, is the art of trusting time. In a world that demands instant results, patience feels outdated, yet it remains one of the most powerful virtues we can cultivate. Dreams take time to unfold, healing requires time to work, and growth cannot be rushed. Impatience pushes us into frustration and despair, but patience allows us to breathe, to endure the waiting, and to believe that the process is shaping us just as much as the outcome. Without patience, setbacks feel unbearable, but with patience, they become stepping stones on the journey. It is patience that whispers, "This season will not last forever, and better days are coming if you just hold on." The beauty is that gratitude and patience work hand in hand. Gratitude allows us to find peace in the present moment, while patience keeps us hopeful for the future. Without gratitude, we are constantly restless, never satisfied with what we already have. Without patience, we are constantly anxious, unable to wait for what is yet to come. But when we combine the two, life feels lighter. We enjoy what is here while trusting what is ahead. Gratitude makes waiting easier, and patience makes appreciation deeper. Gratitude and patience also protect us from stress and negativity. Stress often comes from dwelling on what is missing or worrying about what has not yet arrived. Gratitude interrupts this cycle by shifting focus to abundance, and patience soothes the mind by reminding us that everything has its own time. Together, they create resilience, allowing us to face storms without panic and to celebrate blessings without arrogance. When practiced consistently, they build emotional strength, teaching us that our happiness does not have to depend on perfect conditions. Both qualities also nurture stronger relationships. Gratitude helps us cherish the people in our lives instead of criticizing or taking them for granted. Patience helps us forgive, endure differences, and give others the time and space they need to grow. Whether in friendships, families, or partnerships, gratitude makes bonds sweeter, and patience makes them last longer. These virtues not only improve our own peace of mind, but also create harmony around us. Gratitude and patience are essential because life is unpredictable. We cannot always control what happens, but we can control how we respond. Gratitude teaches us to smile in the present, and patience teaches us to hope for the future. One fills our hearts with joy, and the other fills our hearts with strength. Together, they form a foundation of peace, resilience, and wisdom that allows us to navigate life's ups and downs with grace, making the journey meaningful no matter what comes our way. Inner strength is permanent because it is not dependent on circumstances, people, or external possessions, but rather on the resilience and character we build within ourselves. Life is filled with uncertainty, and what we hold in our hands today can be gone tomorrow. Wealth can disappear, relationships can change, positions can be lost, and health can fluctuate. But the strength we cultivate inside us stays and travels with us through every season of life. It is the one asset no external force can take away, and it becomes our most reliable companion during times of trial and transformation. When life is easy, we rarely realize the depth of our inner strength. It is in the storms, in the struggles, and in the silent battles that we discover how much we can endure. External things may collapse around us, but the ability to stand tall despite the chaos comes from within. Unlike temporary success or fleeting happiness, the courage, wisdom, and resilience we develop become permanent parts of who we are. They are not borrowed. They are earned through experience, reflection, and perseverance. This permanence is why people who go through hardships often emerge not weaker, but stronger, carrying an unshakable strength that no loss can erase. Inner strength also gives us independence. While it is natural to lean on others for support, there are moments in life when no one can fully understand our pain or carry our burden for us. In those moments, it is our inner strength that becomes our anchor. It is the voice that tells us to keep going when everything outside tells us to give up. Friends, family, or mentors may offer encouragement, but the decision to rise always comes from within. This self-reliance makes inner strength invaluable because no matter where life takes us, it remains intact. Another reason inner strength is permanent is that it is built from lessons. Every failure, disappointment, and challenge leaves behind wisdom, and wisdom never fades. Once we learn how to rise after a fall, that knowledge becomes part of us forever. The world may throw new challenges our way, but the lessons we have already gathered serve as a shield and guide. Experience makes inner strength cumulative, and each struggle only adds another layer to it. Unlike external possessions that deteriorate with time, inner strength grows deeper, richer, and more unshakable the more we live. Inner strength also creates peace in the face of change. Life is unpredictable, and clinging to what is temporary often leads to stress and fear. But when we rely on the strength within, we realize that even if everything outside changes, we can still adapt, survive, and move forward. It gives us the confidence to face uncertainty, because we are not defined by what happens to us, but by how we respond to it. Knowing that our true power lies within frees us from being controlled by circumstances, and this freedom itself becomes a source of calm and stability. It is also important to recognize that inner strength inspires others. People are drawn to those who carry resilience and calmness within themselves. The light of inner strength is contagious. It encourages others to believe in their own ability to endure and rise. Unlike material achievements, which fade in relevance, the impact of inner strength on others lasts far beyond a single moment. When we embody resilience, we leave behind an example that lives on in the hearts of those we touch. Inner strength is permanent because it is not tied to what we own or where we stand, but to who we are becoming. It is the one treasure that cannot be stolen, destroyed, or diminished by time. Every challenge only makes it stronger. Every lesson only makes it deeper. And every season of life only proves its value. While the world around us may change 1,000 times, the strength we carry within remains steady, guiding us forward, protecting our peace, and shaping the life we live. Adopting the mindset, "This too shall pass," is one of the most powerful ways to navigate the ups and downs of life. Human beings often get caught up in the illusion that the present moment, whether good or bad, will last forever. When times are hard, we sink into despair believing the pain is permanent, and when times are good, we sometimes cling so tightly to comfort that we forget change is inevitable. The phrase, "This too shall pass," is a gentle but powerful reminder that nothing lasts forever. Every storm eventually clears. Every joy eventually fades, and every chapter of life eventually turns to make way for the next. This awareness can free us from unnecessary suffering and help us live with balance, hope, and resilience. When we are in pain, our minds exaggerate the situation. A broken relationship, financial loss, failure, or rejection can feel like the end of everything. We panic and convince ourselves that life will never get better. But the truth is, no pain is permanent. Time has a way of healing wounds, softening memories, and opening doors we never thought existed. By adopting the mindset, "This too shall pass," we remind ourselves that the storm we are facing today will eventually fade into the past, just like countless struggles before it. This perspective does not erase the pain, but it eases the weight by giving us the strength to endure, knowing that brighter days are ahead. On the other hand, "This too shall pass" is also a reminder for moments of joy and success. Happiness, comfort, and achievements are beautiful, but they are not everlasting. Holding on to this truth prevents us from becoming arrogant or complacent when life is going well. Instead of taking blessings for granted, we learn to savor them with gratitude, fully aware that they may not always be with us. This mindset deepens our appreciation for the present moment, teaching us to enjoy every laugh, every victory, and every peaceful day as a gift. When we realize that good times too shall pass, we stop rushing through life and begin to treasure it more. This mindset also builds resilience. Resilience is not the absence of struggle, but the ability to rise again after falling. When we know that challenges are temporary, we are less likely to give up. We carry patience in our hearts and perseverance in our actions, trusting that the difficult chapter we are in is not the whole story. Just as the darkest night gives way to dawn, so too does every difficult season eventually make way for growth, wisdom, and renewal. People who hold on to this perspective are able to endure trials with hope rather than despair. Adopting the mindset, "This too shall pass," also brings peace in uncertain times. Life is unpredictable, and change is the only constant. By reminding ourselves of this truth, we let go of the need to control everything. Instead of resisting change or fearing the unknown, we learn to flow with it. We stop clinging so tightly to what is leaving and stop fearing what is coming, because we trust that everything is temporary, both the good and the bad. This mindset brings freedom. It liberates us from worry and teaches us to rest in the rhythm of life. Ultimately, "This too shall pass" is not just a phrase but a philosophy of balance. It keeps us humble in success, hopeful in failure, grateful in joy, and patient in sorrow. It teaches us that life is a journey of seasons, each with its own purpose, and none lasting forever. By adopting this mindset, we gain the strength to endure hardships, the wisdom to cherish blessings, and the peace to embrace change with grace.